another fun episode with you, two of your favorite MousekeMoms, Jennifer, hello, and Lori.
Hi.
Juliana's on assignment. Today we're going to do something a little bit different, but a whole lot of fun. On this episode, we're going to take you behind the attraction. We're going to learn about the history, the story, all the hidden gems, all the folklore, and what better attraction to start with than Lori's favorite, Splash Mountain. But before we head over to Splash Mountain, we need our mouse cocktail, even though welcome to our first ever episode where we're video recording it. And now you're going to be in on it that we are drinking coffee. Thinking about our mouse cocktail, though.
You are thinking about the mouse. Actually, I can be fair. You don't know what's in here. You don't know.
That's true. That's true. This might be coffee. I need one of those mugs that says this might be coffee.
Might be coffee. Yeah.
This might be vodka.
This might be vodka. Yes. So I am super excited about this episode. Of course, it's no hidden fact that my favorite ride is Splash Mountain. So
it's an appropriate one to start with.
Right? It's beyond appropriate. So I'm super excited about this. So we decided with the Mouske cocktail, since Splash Mountain is a water ride and perfect for the hot summer days, or one of the tips that I gave was go on a cold day, there's no line. But so we're going to start with the summer drink, one of our favorites. So even though you're staring at some snow.
I'm staring at some snow. My kids had a snow day today.
I'm not staring at snow because I'm still in Florida, but it is chilly here. For Florida, this is chilly, man. We are in the 50s. It got down to I think 29. It was cold.
But alcohol makes you warm, so.
It does. Alcohol does make you warm. I was at Epcot yesterday. Alcohol helped. Definitely helped. So let's go to the Mouske cocktail. We are going to talk about the Buzz Pop cocktail. It is found at Paddlefish in Disney Springs. It is basically a boozy push-up pop. So if you remember those old school push-up pops, now it has booze in it.
I mean, it's like a treat. It's like a juice box of wine.
Right? I have to admit here, I've never tried it. Next time I'm at Disney Springs, and I don't even care if it's 50 or 60, that's warm to me.
I think that they also have it at, I forget the name of the place. Wine Bar George has a window for takeout. Yes. I think they have it there too.
I think they do too. So it is, each of the frozen pops contains as much alcohol as a 30 proof cocktail, which sounds fantastic.
It's going to knock me on my butt. I'm going to be like, I love this juice box.
Oops. My biggest problem is I always have kids with me when I go. So I'm going to have to be like, no, this is not for you.
You need a DD. Lucas can reach the pedals.
Right?
Blake, he's old enough.
They do come in 8 different flavors, which I'm kind of excited about. I did see that they have a Moscow Mule flavor, which all over. Mango passion fruit, lemon drop. And for those people that are counting calories in Disney, not quite sure on those people.
For those people who care.
They are fat-free and contain less than 100 calories. That means I can have more.
Well, then we can have one of each flavor. But again, Blake will be driving home. Yeah, the Moscow Mule sounds good. That one I'd be all over because that's probably not quite as sweet
I was gonna say,
as the mango.
It wouldn't be as sweet because you have the ginger part in there. So that one couldn't be as sweet. All right, that's next time I go, I'm getting it done.
Okay.
I will report back. I will.
Send us pictures.
I will send you pictures. Maybe I'll go live after 2 or 3. It'll be wonderful.
Maybe we'll go live from the car with Blake driving home. Go left! Which way is left, Mommy?
Hold your hand up. Which one makes an L? Don't worry about it.
Oh my God, I still do that when I drive. I'm like, I need to go left. Oh, true confessions. Maybe this video thing isn't so good. It was a bad idea. All right,
this might be one and done, folks.
Professionalism here. All right, let's move on. We need to get talking about this ride because it's a fabulous one. So I think the way that we kind of divided out our our ride episodes. We're going to just tell you about the ride just in case you've never been on it. We'll talk about some of the history, some of the cool folklore with like its development and building it, and then some of the cool things that you can find, because you know the Imagineers love to put in their little secret gems and their hidden Mickeys and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, so the 411, the basic things about this ride. So we're talking Splash Mountain. It's located in Frontierland in the Magic Kingdom. Frontierland is like super duper small, but I love that area. It's so cute. It's like you're in a Western.
It is. I wish they would expand, like, I wish they would expand it more. I feel like Splash Mountain and Big Thunder is also back there too. It like bottlenecks. So like
It does.
you get down there and then you just get stuck, and especially with the COVID stuff going on right now, you're just like people, lines everywhere. I can't. Where do I go?
You know what though? I love watching parades from Frontierland because that's where they start.
Yes.
So if you pre-plan and get there a little bit early to kind of stand right, kind of almost in front of where Splash Mountain is, I love watching a parade from there, because then
yes,
you're the first one that sees it, and then you're also the first one it's done for.
I say those bridges, there's two bridges. I say to my husband, the bridge closest to Splash Mountain, and then there's a bridge further away.
Yes.
And the one further away from Splash Mountain, you can actually see the people after they've come down.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Photos, and to entertain children that can't go on the ride, great bridge spot. They can see everything. They like watching. They can have a snack, and if a parade comes by, you can see it. So it is a nice little area.
It's a cute little area, and then you have Tom Sawyer Island and all that. We used to go there a lot when the kids were really small, because you could run and work off some energy, but I haven't been there in a really long time. It's really cute though.
I don't think I ever have been, and I need to.
Yeah, with the boys, they'd love it, because you can run,
I feel
they have things to climb.
I feel like every time we've gone, it's been down for refurbishment, or like we've just keep hitting it at that time. So I know the riverboat's running right now. I don't know if Tom Sawyer's back open. I don't think it's back open.
Check it out and see, because they would like it.
Okay, back to Splash Mountain.
Yeah, sorry. So it's an 11-minute ride. You'll have 5 drops. Most of them are fine, except for that iconic one where you actually can watch everybody screaming and going down that. It's a 5-story, 45-degree drop. Great photo pass opportunity though, right at the top, to get the castle in the background. Awesome.
But hang on to that phone.
Yes, and you will get wet. This one, when fast passes were available, this one was definitely fast passable. It definitely has a height requirement because of that drop. Yeah. You have to be 40 inches. So most of your kids, except the baby.
So 40 inches. My son's 48 and he is 7. So we're talking, I want to say he's taller, but I want to say we just had a friend down here, and he's just turning 5. Because he'll be in kindergarten. So 5, he cleared it. So I would say 4 or 5.
Depends on the kid, yeah.
Yeah, depending on the kid, 4 or 5.
Lily did it the last time we were there, and she was 5 still. So yeah.
Yeah. So somewhere right around there.
Yes. This is also one where there is no single rider line. They do the ride photo. Some of my favorite pictures are on this ride. And I don't know about COVID times, but I know pre-COVID, they were giving out these cute little Ziploc zippity-doo-dah bags for your phone.
I don't know if they are. I don't think they are now. I
don't know either. Yeah, I think they were trying to get away from that anyway because of the environment. But it's always a good idea to bring it. Like I always bring my own anyway in case of rain. But you will get soaked. You will I found on that ride, either I don't get wet at all, like maybe a splash or two, or I get like drenched. I feel like I've never had an in between.
So I feel like it's completely changed now too. So with the COVID restrictions, they're only allowing basically if there's a party in the first row and then a party in the back row.
Yes.
But if your party reaches 2 rows, you're by yourself. And it just kind of depends how it goes. We have found that you're getting more wet because there's less people on the boat, and
weighing it down.
Yeah, and your chances of being in the front row are like 50-50 right now. So every single person we've seen coming off these rides is like drenched.
Do you think that you get more soaked based on where in the boat you are sitting? Like in the front, you think?
I think front
I
you
guess so.
wet, and then the back. I've seen people. So my kids rode in the front the first 1 or 2 times they got drenched, and then in the back the last 2, and they got wet, but it was not the full wave of water hitting you.
Yeah.
But usually
so.
when it's like full, you have people in front of you and you're like, I'm going to duck behind this really tall guy.
That's true. There's more protection.
There's no protection.
Yeah.
There's no ducking.
Yeah, you can duck behind Blake.
Yeah, well, I was saying usually Lucas is the one that he like ducks behind 2 people. He'll like lay behind them and go all the way down. And he'll
Interesting.
Like, I wasn't wet. I'm like, well, that's because we got wet. So
you're welcome.
Yes. You're welcome. But no, you do get wet. It is not like Pirates, I think, has signs saying you may get wet. No.
This one said, the signs say you may get wet, which is funny also because you're gonna get wet. I mean,
getting wet. Yep, you're getting wet. Your shorts are gonna be drenched just from sitting in it.
Yes,
it's okay.
So, do you wear a poncho on this ride? No, right? Okay, good. We can be friends. No offense, listeners.
It's a water ride. Suck it up.
Water ride, yeah.
You're gonna dry.
I have to say, I don't usually go on this ride if it's cold. I know that's a great tip.
I do.
Because the line is short, and you love it, but I won't cry if I miss this one.
I will say I do the cheater approach. So I have my husband go first thing in the morning when there's no line with the kids, and then I get my rider swap, and then we won't go until 1-2 o'clock when it's kind of nicer out.
Nice.
So I make him go in the morning when it's
Eric.
Well, this way we're not waiting, because you don't wait first thing in the morning, and then with the rider switch you don't wait at all. So it works that, it's good time management. That's what it is. I can see the roll of the eyes now.
Oh, sorry. Oh, we need to rethink this thing. All right. Well, all right. So I feel like this ride story is controversial, and it absolutely is. But we'll share it. I'm going to read this because you can tell that I'm reading now, but I think it's really interesting. So according to Wikipedia, Splash Mountain was originally conceived for Disneyland in 1983 by Imagineer Tony Baxter while he was stuck in rush hour traffic on his way to work. I love that. Like, my best ideas come to me at 2:00 in the morning. And apparently for this dude, came in rush hour traffic.
Yep.
He wanted to attract guests to the often empty Bear Country Land in Disneyland, California. And the only attraction was Country Bear Jamboree, which later closed in Disneyland. Plus, there was a souvenir shop. He wanted to make use of the audio animatronics that they had retired. And so they were trying to think of this ride that they could build in this area that really needed an attraction to it. So Dick Munoz, who is a really famous Imagineer who's been with the Disney Imagineering since the beginning, he really, really wanted there to be a log flume in Disney, which this is not a log flume, Splash Mountain. This is a story, and I love that. The Imagineers also, they were not enthusiastic about it. They said it was too ordinary of an attraction for Disney, which is totally, I 100% agree. And so they decided, they thought about Song of the South, this old movie, and they decided to create this ride. So you want to tell us about the ride story? Like, I'm not familiar with this movie at all. now, because it's really not politically correct, it's pretty offensive. You can't find this movie anywhere. So even if I wanted to see for myself what it was about, it's really, unless you know somebody who has it already, I think it's really hard. But the Splash Mountain piece of it was taken from, my understanding is like this really tiny part of the Song of the South movie.
Yeah. I was gonna say, from everything I've heard, it's a super tiny part. I'll go through the ride story of it, but it's my favorite ride. I don't even associate it really with that. In my head, I'm like, they took some movie and took one percentage of it, and they've created all these really cute characters. So that's how I've gone about it. I understand the controversial side of it. As we've talked about before, they're redoing this ride. I'm not thrilled about it.
But I also kind of get it for exactly that reason.
I get it.
I'm
And
45 and I've never heard of this movie before. I've never seen it before. The kids certainly don't know. Like the only reason I know and my kids know about Brer Bear and Brer Fox and Brer Rabbit is from this ride.
Yes.
So I get it. I myself am a fan of what's coming, but anyway.
I was gonna say, so what's coming is Princess Tiana from Princess and the Frog. I agree. I think she should be somewhere in the park. She's not. So I wish they would leave my ride alone, but they're not. Fine.
The only thing I find interesting though is she's like, her story is in New Orleans, like the Louisiana Bayou. That's not really the current theming. The current theming is like out west with like the cactuses and,
I don't understand how they're going to quite do that. That one should be interesting. I feel
wonder if
she would be more of a fit in like Liberty Square, but I
wonder if this is like the beginning of a grander plan to retheme that whole area,
maybe
to make it more down on the bayou and less.
How do you do Big Thunder in the bayou?
I'm not paid the big bucks. I don't know. But I can totally see Huck Finn's Tom Sawyer's Island. Like that would be adorable.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right. So they got to do something. They're redoing it, but let's go through the story.
Sorry. Yes.
Moving on.
Yeah. You want to go through the story? Go through the ride.
Yeah. I'll go through the actual story of the ride. So the plot behind Splash Mountain is it was the composition of several Uncle Remus's stories. The different versions of Splash Mountain feature similar stories with small differences. Each ride scenes taken from animated segments of the Song of the South, telling the story of Bear Rabbit, Bear Turtle, and the mischievous heroes who leave their homes in search of adventure. So you have Bear Fox and Bear Bear. That is really hard to say.
Brer Bear.
Brer Bear. And determined to catch them, but are repeatedly tricked into letting them free. So basically, they've taken little bits and pieces from here, and they've kind of created an entire story of this. So you have the sharp-witted Brer Rabbit avoids a snare trap. I feel like this is like the world's trickiest thing to say.
It is.
Snare trap. And uses it to trap Brer instead.
Yes. So you have Brer Bear and Brer Fox, who are like the bad dudes.
Yes.
And poor little Brer Bear is running away from the fox and the bear. And you're like on his adventure of where he's running through this little Brer County. And it sounds like this ride, we know it's in Disneyland. That's where, the idea came for it. And we know it's in Disney World. And it looks like it's in Tokyo also. Yes, but I think so. Each park has little differences, little nuances, which is cute, but it's all originated in the same story.
Yes. So I will say the reason I love this ride is because of the story, not because it's coming from the Song of the South, but because they've truly taken a ride and gone through all parts of the story. I feel like some of the newer rides, like they've taken, for example, The Little Mermaid, which drives me Looney Tunes. You
The
see
one in the Magic Kingdom.
the
Yeah.
one in the Magic Kingdom. You see the first couple of she meets Ursula, she sees the prince she wants, she does that, and then all of a sudden the entire second half of the movie is gone. And you're like ending the ride with they got married. And I'm like, what happened to
You
all of
know,
that stuff before?
you know what though? It's so interesting because like we all know The Little Mermaid because we've all
Yeah.
that's one that we've all seen. But
Yes.
it's so cool and it's such a like a testament to Disney Imagineering that none of us knew this Brer Bear
Correct.
story, but you leave that ride knowing exactly who the bad guys were. You know, you're rooting for this good guy, Brer Rabbit. You know, you see them like going through and meeting all the little Brer friends and hiding out and doing stuff, and you see them approaching the scary place, and then you go down the drop and then you see Brer Bear winning at the end, and we all celebrate with this really catchy tune. And who doesn't know Zippity Doo Dah? Like, I
Exactly.
don't know this movie one bit, but I know that song.
Right. So that, I mean, generally that's the whole reason that I think my entire family, it's a full story.
It
It is
is.
11-minute ride, people. There are rides at Disney where you wait an hour and a half and you're on that ride for about 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So this is an 11-minute ride and it goes
is.
full circle. It does a complete story. I appreciate the beginning, the middle, the end. It's fully thought out, and I think it, as much as it's from a not politically correct movie, it has been a thoroughly thought out ride that has every parts it should have.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my. I know.
It
I'm
is.
sorry.
It's a sweet ride. I understand the history to it though,
Yeah.
and part of Walt's vision was like he believed in change, and he believed that in order that you have to grow with the times. So this is an example. I mean, this ride has been, what is it, 30 years old now already? It's time.
It is. I
It's
know.
time. I'm
I
sorry.
know. It's fine. You know, I got a video. I'll just keep going on
And
it.
they
And
have not announced a date yet. I think that they wanted to announce that this was something that's in the works and that this is going to happen, so that everybody is like, okay, they're acknowledging that this is a problem. They're acknowledging that they're going to take care of it. But I think that they have so many other things
yeah.
in motion or on the back burner from COVID that it's going to be a while. So I think we still have a while to enjoy this ride.
Yes, I will say yes, they did this as a PR stunt. You know,
Absolutely.
they saw what was going around in the world and they're like, we need to do something.
And I don't
And
think that was the deciding factor either. I think that this has been in the works,
oh yeah,
on their mind forever. And this was just a good opportunity to show solidarity with Black Lives Matter and with everything that was going on in the country, to come out and say, well, guess what? You're absolutely right. Here's what we're going to do about it to show our sensitivity.
exactly. So I agree. You know, I think it is what it is. I think they tried pulling things out of the movie that didn't necessarily have to do with that stuff.
Right.
But it's still from the movie. I get it. It'll still be my favorite ride.
It'll still sting.
And Princess Tiana, you better bring it because
I'm excited. I'm excited. So in the meantime, I think we have a while. I think and by a while, I think like years to still enjoy it.
I think 2 or 3 years.
So that makes this episode really appropriate because we're going to tell you some of the things, like the behind the scenes things that you can look out for the next time that you're on the ride, or things that you can think about that'll make you laugh. So I'm looking at my notes. Okay. So this one is not for children. But Splash Mountain has gained a reputation and a nickname. And there are some who call it Flash Mountain. And that is because this particular attraction, I told you there's a photo op on this one that we love, that we always like to make funny faces, but apparently there is a small group of people who like to do something else on Flash Mountain. I'm just going to leave that one there. I'm hoping that you're with me and you get it.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Okay, moving on. Um, the other fun fact is the original name for Splash Mountain was supposed to be Zippity River Run. But they changed the name because at the time, the CEO of the parks was Michael Eisner, and he wanted to promote the romantic comedy Splash. Have you seen Splash? That's like one of my most favorite movies.
I've seen it, yes.
Okay. Clearly, she's a fan. I too can see the eye roll. However, I have to say, I didn't need the camera to see it.
You just felt it, felt it.
I felt it. So Michael Eisner wanted to promote the romantic comedy Splash, so he encouraged them to rename it Splash Mountain, which still fits. I don't know how that relates to the movie Splash, except that they
Named
have
it
the same
Splash.
name.
I got nothing on that one. I mean, I think it's a little easier to, I mean, plus you had the mountains. So you had Space Mountain, Big Thunder, Railway Mountain. I mean, it's the mountains. So
Yeah.
I think that was a little easier.
I think so too. Zippity River Run does not roll off your tongue.
No, it doesn't.
No.
It doesn't. No.
I can't. And it's so funny because I guess this is with most things, but now that it's called Splash Mountain, I can't imagine it being called anything else.
Yeah. So good call. Good call.
Good call, Michael Eisner.
Yeah. Good job.
The other lore. Okay, so I've never noticed this, and now I'm going to have you noticed this? There's a flashing street lamp.
I saw
while
that.
You're getting into the log. And that's just a signal to the cast members to let them know that the boats are going to be moving again. And I guess they do that on a lot of attractions. I've just never noticed.
No, I guess now I'm just gonna have to pay attention.
Now I'm gonna have to pay attention. Yeah. Like smoke signals. Who knew?
Yeah. What was our next one? Our next one is all 3 Disney parks Splash Mountains drops are around 52.5 feet. So they've kept them all about the same.
I can't picture it.
I was gonna say,
it's big.
I was gonna say, I think that's really interesting because I know with Space Mountain, there are some different Space Mountains depending on where you're going. So I think this one is kind of cool that they've kept that one the same.
The same, yeah. That's about 5 stories in a house if you're trying to picture it, which that's terrifying.
Which cracks me up that it doesn't have a safety bar at all.
You have the lap bar.
Yeah, you have the lap bar. I figured you'd have more if you're going down, the 5, like I figured there'd be more. I've seen some rides in some other parks that you get on a slow moving train and it's like a full like harness down on you and you can't move and it goes like 2 miles per hour. This one, like, I don't know. I figured there'd be
talking about Dr. Seuss.
Yes, we are.
And your anger about that ride.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. I mean, there must be a reason because Disney is so like safety first. That's their first thing and their keys that they teach. There must be a reason.
Like it's not a very tight. I just feel like it's not a very like tight one. That's all.
Maybe it has to do with like the G-force pressure going down.
So like you're not getting out anywaes. But it's just every time I'm on it, I'm like, and now talking exactly.
The first thing I do is grab Lily. I'm like, hold on, like mommy seatbelt. So she doesn't need a harness. She's good. She's got me.
Mommy seatbelt.
And then of course, if I'm not sitting with her, I'm yelling at whichever big brother or Mark who's sitting with her, make sure you're holding on to your sister.
Yeah.
I guess you're right. So Splash Mountain in Tokyo Disneyland officially opened. Splash Mountain in all 3 parks officially opened within 1 day of each other, which is really interesting. I didn't realize that. So Tokyo's grand opening was October 1st, 1992. And Magic Kingdom opened the very next day.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool. So yeah, 92. So it's time. Oh my God, it is. It's 30 years old.
I was going to say it was when I was going to the park. So 89 was the first time I went to the park and I was 5. So like my first big like ride was Splash Mountain, and that's why, and it just opened and it was the new ride, which is why I have my feelings for it. And we're moving on about the age. I do want to mention this one because I know this one. The little gopher may sound like he's sneezing, but if you listen carefully to him, he's actually saying FSU. This is a nod to Florida State University where I went, because one of the Disney Imagineers who worked on this ride also went to Florida State. So I do
love this little gem.
Yes. I was going to say, it took me a couple times to hear it. As soon as I did hear this fact, and it took a couple times, and then finally I hear it. Now I can't unhear it. So every time I'm like going, now I always sing, and now I'm like, yep, there he is. Yep, there he is. But
FSU.
yeah, FSU. So
that's
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, so I love
that's
that.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to pay attention.
Yes.
So it's in the little scene where they're like the whack-a-mole almost.
Yes, I think it's right where the whack-a-mole is, and it sounds like you can literally, until you're paying attention to it, you don't even register that he's even sneezing. But then the second that
now that you know,
yeah, and you pay attention, you're like, oh yeah. So now every time I can't go through it without unhearing it, because I'm like, oh, there it is. So
that's really cool.
It's a really, really cool one.
All right, so now we have to know it. We have to make mental note of the flashing street lamp in the beginning, yes, and the gopher FSU.
Gopher. Yes.
Okay.
And the hidden Mickey.
This one I knew about.
So I have to tell you, this one probably took me.
It's a stretch.
5, 6, 7 years. I kept looking for like a hidden Mickey in the general sense of the circle with the 2 ears. No. And every single time somebody said that, I was like, yeah, it's right there. Yeah, it's right there. And like, it was making stuff up in my head until I finally saw a picture online, and they're like, it's a profile. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's like him looking that way. So right at the top of the big drop.
Yes.
If you look out the cave, first of all, it's a beautiful picture because you see the skyline, you see the castle. It's a gorgeous photo opportunity. So take the photo, but take it like right before you get to the top, so you get a picture of the cave walls in there also. And you'll see it's Mickey Mouse's profile. I'll post it on our Facebook page so you can.
Yeah, post it, because it's really hard until you actually see somebody outline it.
Yeah.
I pointed out to my kids a few times, and I think they finally saw it this last time. And they were like, Mickey Mouse's nose is not that stretched out. And I'm like, I understand that it's not exactly the silhouette.
Yeah. So hidden Mickey.
It is.
It's Mickey's profile at the very top of the splash. Yeah, I'll post the picture on our Facebook page because you have to see it so that you know what to look for. But yes, they've done that a couple of times, because I think, what's the other ride over by in the Magic Kingdom, over by the Little Mermaid ride, where they have all the, there's another one the profile. So I'll see if I can find that picture too.
Actually, we went on the Little Mermaid the other day, and there was a VIP tour in front of us, and he was pointing that out to people.
Yes.
And he said to people that this one was really hard to see.
It's a stretch. And you have to just be standing
I pulled a picture, and since we have video, you can kind of see it.
Oh yeah.
So right there is
his nose.
And that's his nose, and then his mouth is right here. So you can kind of see the profile right there.
It's cool.
But we'll post a picture.
I'll post it because I have a picture of it like highlighted.
We're talking literally at the top as you're about to drop down. You'll see the little castles. Oh, my phone just went. You'll see the little castle right there.
Yeah.
And it's a great picture of the castle. Again, we are not taking responsibility for your phones. Take that picture and
don't message us and tell us. Oh man.
Hide that phone, because it will get wet. I have done a video on that ride. My phone got wet. But it did survive. But it does get wet. So yes, hide that phone. All right. So
I think that's it. And we did talk about it on June 25th of this past year. Disney and Disneyland announced that they will be retheming the ride to The Princess and the Frog, which I'm really excited about. So I think let's end with our thoughts about this. I think that you get our thoughts anyway, but just I am not nostalgic about this ride. I was not 5 when this attraction opened up. I never knew the story until the ride, and even still, like the only story that I know from Song of the South is the story of Brer Bear and Brer Fox and Brer Rabbit.
Yeah.
I don't have any fandom or loyalty to this ride. On the other hand, I think that The Princess and the Frog is one of the most underrated princess Disney movies ever. I love the music. I love the story. I love Tiana's character. I think the music is so cool. So, although a lot of people are saying they're really sad that the zippity doo dah part is going to go away because it's so catchy, those songs that they sing on the bayou are just as like, just makes you want to snap. I'm excited. Like I can't wait. Lori, tell us your thoughts. Once again,
So,
we see you rolling your eyes.
I think I shared my thoughts. You know what? It's one of those things where I agree with what they're doing. I'm still sad about what they're doing. I do think the storyline of it is not really having to do with the problems from that movie. But could it use a refresh? It probably could. I really do. My only thing is, I really do hope that they take the ride itself and do not change the ride. Change the characters, put Tiana in there, do everything. Please just don't change the ride.
I feel like that's what it's going to be. I think it's going to be more of an overlay
Yes,
than a
I really hope
complete.
yes, I really hope it's the overlay. One thing I do want to note: a lot of people ask. We talked about that 5 or 4, depending on the heights, and 5-year-olds can go on this ride. A lot of people have asked me if they think it's appropriate for a 5-year-old. It's not scary. Yes, it has a massive drop to it, but it's actually one of the rides that it is not scary. Space Mountain is scary in terms of that age. Even Big Thunder is scary. It talks about a railway going off tracks, and that entire philosophy to a 5 and 6-year-old could be scary. This is one of the rides where I feel like there's no scary parts. You get to a little part where he gets caught, but they don't go into it to the point where the kids are scared. They're just seeing
even
that
Brer Rabbit's not so scared
right?
when
Even
he's caught.
scared. And even the bad guys are not scary. So I feel like it's one of those rides where, especially for a 5 and 6-year-old, if they haven't done any big drop rides, that I feel like this one is really good. Even if they change it to what's her name?
What's her name? Tell us how you really feel.
If they keep the same mechanics and just do an overlay of this ride, it's a great ride for the first big drop, because it's just it doesn't have scariness to it. It's a great thing. So
and then they get off the ride and they're so excited that they were big enough to do it and that they weren't scared. It's really cute.
And they weren't scared and they got wet, and they love seeing how wet mom and dad got, and
it's over in a second. It's not like Thunder Mountain or Space Mountain where it's constant fast. The whole thing is scary.
Yes. Yeah. No, this is just
I agree. That's a good point.
And then right at the end, you go into, hopefully with her overlay, but was it right now, you go through Zippity Doo Dah and you start singing and everything's happy. And, so even if the big drop really did scare them, they then go into happiness. So yes, I will be upset. I definitely have the Splash Mountain plush toys. I have the t-shirts.
We have the matching shirts.
Yes, we have the matching shirts. So I love the ride. A lot of it is nostalgia for me. So we'll see when it goes away. But until then, I'll keep riding it.
Yeah, and you've got a couple of years, I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah. So yes, great ride. So we do have a Mouske tip. And obviously you can see MousekeMoms have very different opinions about every attraction. Every one of us has a different favorite ride. Even if a ride is not the most popular, it can still be the most important to you. As I've said, this one is one of my favorites. It is an absolute must in my family. If they didn't make it to any other mountain or even Seven Dwarfs, this ride has to be done. So you need to take into account what's important to you, to your family, and make that a priority, either by making a fast pass when they come back, which they better, Bobs, or by making sure that you're scheduling it into your trip. I've brought up the fact of, having your first part of your party going first thing in the morning. There's no lines. It's like 5-10 minutes, if that. Walking through the queue is probably the longest part.
Mhm.
And then the other half of your family can go on the ride or switch in the afternoon. So this ride does typically get busier throughout when it gets warmer throughout the day. So I would say it peaks at about 1 o'clock.
And I think
Um,
it's different for every ride too for this
yes,
Mouska tip, because like what we
yes.
learned on our trip is Minnie and Mickey's Runaway Railway was the newest ride. It was the first one you got to, and we made the mistake of going there first thing in the morning when a couple hours later the line was much shorter. So
Yes, I will say in general for a tip, any ride that is newer or right in the front of the park. If it's the first ride when you get in the park and it
Spaceship
you've
Earth.
been there at opening, Spaceship Earth, everyone's just going to go there naturally because it's the first ride and they're like, "Oh, let's just get it done. We're right here." And everyone goes to that ride.
Right.
So sometimes you want to go to the furthest back rides and hit there first. So it just depends, but everyone's going to have a different opinion when it comes to rides, and make sure you pick the ones best for your family.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us on our grand experiment of a video podcast. We'll see how this one goes. But you have squandered another perfectly good evening chatting with us. And for that, we thank you. Next week, please return. And hopefully there will be 3 MousekeMoms and not 2. And we'll see if this grand experiment continues to work. If you have more to share or more to comment on, we love hearing your comments. For more of this kind of Disney fun and the latest news, please follow along on our Facebook page, which is called Disney Planning and Chat by MousekeMoms. And definitely visit our blog for the latest news. That's MousekeMoms with an S blog.com. And we will see you next time.
I feel like we have to wave. Yeah, bye.
Thank you.